Hey everyone, what's going on? Brian, Flying Acres Ag. Hey, over the next couple weeks we're going to go over all kind of the different tips and tricks and different parts and pieces of the T50 remote here. There's a lot of different uses you can have in it, and a lot of things that you can help yourself out in the field. So today we're going to actually go over hotkeys, different things that we put on while we're out in the fields doing the jobs and things that have really helped us over the years. So let's dive in, we'll take a look at the hotkeys and how to set them up. So we got our drone kicked on here, we got our remote turned on. Our hotkeys we're going to set are going to be L1, 2, and 3, and then our C3 back here on the back of the drone. So the reason for that, this is kind of how we hold it, and I want to be able to have it all right here without taking my hands off. So we're going to dive in and let's see how we can do that. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to our settings on the drone. For the aircraft settings, spreader, controller, for this operation, what we're doing today, we're going to go to our controller settings, and then we're just going to slide down, and then we have our customization buttons. So this is where we're going to add our hotkeys. So for ours, L1, L2, L3, we like to have those as you can see here on the screen. So we like to have L1 as a point when we're mapping. We can just tap instead of tapping add on the screen. L2, we have the enable or disabling of the altitude terrain following, and everybody says, well, that's kind of weird, why would you want to turn it off? There's quite a few scenarios in which we turn that off, some of which when we're going over top of pivots. We have a lot of irrigation pivots here in Michigan, and also if we're over top of power lines while we're out spreading. We don't want it to see that power line when we're already 10, 12 feet above it, or else now we're 40 or 50 feet up in the air. So we can just go ahead and shut that off and just move nice and sail over top of the power lines, kick it back on, and then continue following the corn. And our third one, L3, is our spotlight switch. And the reason for that is we run our lights while we're out flying all day, every day. It really doesn't do much of anything for your battery as far as depleting it, and it makes the aircraft so much more visible even at a quarter mile away. It's amazing how much difference it is when you go ahead and take off and kick those on to be able to pick that aircraft up much quicker. So, and then we just scroll down. I personally do not have anything over on the side here in my D10. I don't like to set anything there. I'm typically using that thumb to use this stick, so I really don't mess with these a whole lot. But there are options in which you can go through and set different things on there. If you want it set for your gimbal, or if you're doing manual plus mode for steering, you can set all those right here. So our last one that we set personally is C3. And we actually have the C3 right here on the back of the aircraft, or the back of the remote control. We have that set for our omnidirectional radar. So we actually shut our obstacle avoidance radar off at times. A few times we do that, and this is, you know, just for our personal use and what we use them for. When we are landing the aircraft, most of the times we're really close up to corn, or we're in a small area, and it's pretty hard to land that aircraft without it freaking out around, you know, the corn next to you, or trees, or power poles, or whatever the case is. We can just go ahead, quick shut that off, land the aircraft nice and safely. Another one, again, when we're going over top of irrigation pivots, we can actually, as we're flying autonomously, we can just quick lift the aircraft. We can help that aircraft up and over. And when we're doing that, in order to stay fairly close to that pivot without being 20 or 30 feet above it, so the aircraft obstacle avoidance doesn't detect it and stop above the pivot, I quick shut that off, make my way up and over, kick it back on, and I continue on my mission. So those are just a few things that we use for hotkeys here at Flying Acres. We've had tens and tens of thousands of acres that we've covered, and these are some hotkeys that we found that have been able to help us do that job a little bit easier. So we hope it helped. If you guys have questions, feel free to reach out, 616-327-7885.